Welcome back. You're watching Goeiemôre, good morning. Brent Lindeque is the South African entrepreneur, journalist, author, podcaster, and motivational speaker, mondvol, known as the founder of the Good Things Guy, which is a platform dedicated to sharing positive news. He's joining me in the studio now to talk about the impact of a good news story. Brent, this is a full circle moment, right? Because I did your first live TV interview on a breakfast show 14 years ago. Not 14 years, 11 years ago.
11 years ago.
2014.
2014, it's a full circle moment. It was that moment that I went viral. I was on all these news broadcast shows globally and locally. And I got to be interviewed by you. And it was... I posted it on social media last night.
Yes.
It was my life changing in real time that we got to sit down and chat 11 years ago. And here we are again, 11 years later, and this little idea to share good news is about to turn 10 on the 1st of August.
I can't believe it. You walked in here and I was like, how is he so brown? It's winter. There's obviously a reason for the glowing brown tan. Tell me a bit more.
So last week I got to join a bunch of cyclists from both South Africa and the globe in Botswana at a game reserve called Mashutu. And we cycled for 3 days, over 40 kilometers every day in the middle of the game reserve between the lions and the elephants. And collectively we raised over 1.4 million rand for anti-poaching efforts in Botswana, which is on the border of South Africa. So it serves our country well as well.
How do you choose which causes you want to get involved in as a personal brand? Now, as Brent, we'll get to the stories of Good Things Guy a bit later. But how do you choose where you want to lend your voice?
It's so difficult because there's so many charities and organizations in South Africa that I believe are the backbone of our country. They are really doing the most. So I don't particularly choose one and not the other. I try give my voice to absolutely everybody and every organization in South Africa. And it's very funny, or maybe serendipitous, that you brought this up, because we're launching something in the next month or two that's really going to give a voice to every single charity in South Africa. It's a platform that's going to run alongside Good Things Guy. And that's all I'm going to say for now, is it's going to give a voice to every single charity in this country, which I'm very excited about.
So I want to chat a bit about the buzz in a newsroom. So the buzz in a newsroom, I know this from working here, from working at Jacaranda, when things are catastrophic, that's when people are thriving and people are just kind of feeding off that energy. But Good Things Guy is exactly the opposite. So what does a day look like in the office at Good Things Guy when there is a beautiful story that you want to share?
You know that is exactly the same thing. So that buzz, that feeling of we're telling good news and this is the beat of the country and we're changing the narrative, it's exactly the same. Every morning the team, we collectively share what stories we're going to share today on our WhatsApp editorial group. And sometimes there's fights. I want this one or I want that one. But we all manage to iron it out and sort of focus on what we're going to write about. And then we pan out the day. And as the day goes, sometimes there's breaking good news stories. So recently we had that massive seal that sort of everybody was talking about, this elephant seal that was all over Simonstown and Amarnus. And so we got to follow and track that story throughout the day, just like you would a bad news story. And we got to share really inspiring breaking news on how this elephant seal sort of got rescued and then made its way back into the sea. And then the next day was found in Simonstown again. So we get to follow those stories as well.
I think that's fantastic. You used the words changing the narrative. And changing the narrative is actually the title of one of the keynotes that you do. What is the backbone of that talk and how do you want to use that to change people's perspectives?
Yeah. So I, in the last 11 years, have gained this incredible skill that I understand first and foremost that there's more than one story to our country and more than one story to our communities. And sometimes we can get bogged down in the bad news that's real. It's there. I'm not telling you to hide away from it. We need to know what's going on around us in order to make it better. But we can sometimes get so weighed down by these stories, these negative stories, that we don't realize that there's another narrative out there. And in the last 11 years, I have seen that in every situation, there's another narrative. And sometimes, even when it's the hardest of the hard stories, we just need to wait maybe an hour, maybe two, and then we get to tell the stories of the helpers, the heroes, and the people that are changing that narrative. So when I do these keynotes to corporates and schools and all over the country and now the world, which is really cool, I get to travel the world to do these good news talks, I just try and remind people that there's more to us than one side of our story. And sometimes we create this one side when there is good news happening all around us. And there's proof. We get to tell up to 15 good news stories every day on the platform. So there is a lot of good. And it's also we have to sift through hundreds of stories in order to find those 15.
And what's also great for me is watching how your platform actually provides news for larger news platforms to use as well. And then they are kind of piggybacking off you. Did you ever think that's something that you created? I know there's a whole team. I'm very well aware of that, a very big team, because you've got news about that as well. But something that you created is now feeding into a positive outlook for the whole world to see.
No, and you're actually making me feel a little bit emotional because I never planned for this to be what it is. My life changed 11 years ago. That's old news. That's an old story. Yeah. A year later, I started this platform to share one good news story with South Africa every single day. There were other platforms at the time that were doing that already, but I'd gained this sort of social media growth. So there was a way for me to capitalize on that and use it in a way that was positive. I never thought first that it would be a business ever. It was just it was a hobby. It was this idea to share good news. But then a business that not only employs South Africans, which I think is incredible when unemployment is so rife in our country, but then to change the narrative of mainstream media is insane. When we write a story, and then so I've got this thing in the back end that I get emailed whenever we get mentioned. So if Good Things Guy today on this show, I'm going to get an email afterwards going, "You were talking about Good Things Guy," and I get those every single day from mainstream media news sites that they're using us as a source, which is just unreal to think that it's changing the national narrative.
So on the other side of that coin is obviously the naysayers and the people that are trolls and say, oh, well, you're just using these stories for like to cover up actually what's going wrong, you know? But actually, you always have such a great comeback. Obviously, I've followed you on social media for years. We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
You always have a comeback for those people.
Yeah, so that news is happening. Like, you can find bad news everywhere.
You don't even have to look.
You don't. People are talking about it around the water coolers, around their dinner tables, or on the WhatsApp groups. When, I don't know, water shedding kicks in.
When there's no electricity, what are we going to talk about?
No, well, there we go. And so that news is all around us and it's easily accessible. I don't hide away from that. I am South African. I live in this country.
Yeah.
I've had bad news stories happen to me. I got almost hijacked. Whatever. We can get into that, but we're not going to. I've lived. I know the reality of living here. There is another side to South Africa, and there is good news happening. And I'm not saying move away from the bad news. You require balance as a human being. We require balance. Otherwise, we just live in fear all the time.
We do. And we also require a little bit of positivity. And if there's a dedicated platform to go to for that, then that's actually a really great thing. Aside from this dedicated platform, here is now a book.
A book? I'm like you with the Balenciaga. Pulling it out, Pulling it out.
A whole coffee table book. I love it. Tell me about this.
Right. So this is the second edition. The first edition was in 2023, the end of 2023. We decided to take all of our stories. So I think in 2023, we wrote 4,000 good news stories about South Africa, from South Africa to the world. And the team and I decided to take our favorite 100, which was so hard to choose because every story was our favorite. But we put it into a coffee table book that became a bestseller, which is fantastic. And so we did it again the end of last year. And this guy is, or girl, or whatever we want to call it, the Only Good Things book is out there and it's in all the exclusive books. And that's my gift today for you. So you get to keep that.
Thank you, Oprah.
Yeah, I am like Oprah.
You are like Oprah because you had lunch with her. So of course you're like Oprah.
I'll never not name drop that. Getting an email asking me to have lunch with Oprah, never not name drop. That was a whole vibe.
So what is next now? You've got the book. There've been podcasts, you're on
Yeah.
TV, you are just in so many different media. Wow, where do you go from here?
That's an interesting question, because when we were younger, that was always something that we were asked. Where are you going to be in 5 years?
Yes.
Where are you going to be in 10 years? Where do you see your life? And for me, I feel so content with this beautiful gift that the universe has given me and given to South Africa. We're on billboards, we're on TV, we're all over the place. We reach up to 30 million South Africans on a monthly basis, which is just insane to think of that number. Where to from here? More hope. To reach the people in this country that might be hopeless, that might be fearful, that might not be proud of South Africa, that might need some inspiration, that might need a story to make them smile. That's all I want to do, is to keep doing what I do right now for the people that need it the most. And some days that's me. Some days I need a bit of a picker-upper of a good news story, and I know other South Africans are the same. So that's all I want to keep doing. And as long as people keep, reading and sharing and engaging with this good news, then the team and I will continue doing what we do.
I'm really proud of you. I think South Africa is really proud of you. We are very, very lucky to have you. Not like we don't know the social media handles already, but Brent, thank you for joining us on Goeiemôre, Good Morning. It's been lovely having you here.
Ek moet iets in Afrikaans sê. So
Asseblief.
baie dankie. Dit was baie lekker.
Baie dankie.
Baie lekker om hier te wees.
Ons ken die social media handles, but good things guy, Brent Lindeque, thank you so much for joining us. Someone else who loves South Africa is Australian music superstar James Johnston. He's going to join us with Elsa just after the break.